Hi, my name's Neil Moore. I'm the developer of the Simply Music method. Today we're going to spend some time looking at the method itself. How does it work? How do we teach? One of the questions that we've had consistently over the last 20 years or so is, I can read about the program, I can read how much people are enjoying it, but I can't really get my hands on what you actually do. And so in a series of videos today, I want to demonstrate that more comprehensively. There's a few things that we need to talk about, however, as a background. Firstly, this is a big curriculum, pretty broad, vast, deep, unfolds step by step of every song for every lesson for 6, 8, 10 years of lessons. So there's no way known that we can capture that in a few brief excerpts. However, I can give you a really good overview of our general approach. Firstly, this method is about learning a way of learning. It's almost like I'm going to give you a lens. And once I've given you that lens, you can focus it on the learning of any subject, really. We've found that it has brilliant application to the teaching of music. And we're going to demonstrate how we'd actually go about doing that. The method itself is based on the premise that absolutely every single human being is profoundly musical. And I say much more about that on one of the other videos on this side, and I recommend that you view that and get a grasp of where it is that we're coming from. Everything that we do in Simply Music is based on that premise that absolutely every single human being, without exception, is deeply and naturally and profoundly musical. So that's where we start. Thereafter, regardless of whatever it is that we're learning, this is a multi-genreal approach, so our students are getting into contemporary and classical and gospel and blues and ballads, improvisation, composition, or developing arrangement. It's very comprehensive. Everything that we do ultimately comes down to 4 particular arenas. There's a body of tools, lots of tools, practical perspectives that allow you to see music in a particular way. Very much oriented around shapes and patterns, and we always say a lot about that in our program. The second thing is that there are a body of strategies, the actual way in which we go about teaching. Very often the mechanics of what to teach are demonstrated, but the mechanics of how to teach are often subordinated and left in the background. We bring them into focus and put them under the spotlight because they play a critical role. The third thing is that we explore what we would call realms. The realm of receptive learning, generative learning, participatory learning, preparatory learning, observatory learning. This way of approaching the actual experience of learning itself. Might sound a little abstract talking about it, but it's something that becomes very clear when we get into the method. And then fourthly, we have a high level of attention and focus on what we would call the relational aspect of learning. What is our fundamental core relationship to the experience of learning? What are those areas that get in the way of efficient learning? What are those areas that help to support and contribute efficient learning? It's the totality of all of that that makes up the core of the Simply Music method. We're going to demonstrate that in some very simple, very clear, very basic manner, and it's going to leave you with content that you can share with your students if you wish. I'd love you to share this with your students if you believe that there's value. I'd only ask that you acknowledge where you saw this from. If you're currently a student of music, you may well be familiar with some of the concepts that I talk about. If you're not, it's no problem. We get into them very soon into the learning process. And if you're a total beginner, and this seems like it's all over your head, the good news for you to know is that within 6, 8, 10 lessons, everything that we're talking about today would be content that you would fully understand, you'd have a grasp of, and it would already be translating into your musicianship. So let's get into understanding more about the Simply Music program. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you get value. Please share whatever you see today. See you soon.